he also wrote dime store novels. He told me he had been down at the square and witnessed the whole thing. And seems like he wanted to interview me and do a story about me. Well, I agreed to that, and I sat down and I told him a few stories about my life, and well, I suppose I embellished some of them just a tad, but not near as much as he did when he came in with that article. Why, he had me shooting and killing over 100 people. Can you believe it? By that time it was about a half a dozen was all. But he's the one that called me Wild Bill Hickok, the greatest pistolier, the most famous gunfighter in the West. Well, while the fame was nice, it kind of put a target on my back. Now I had to worry about any young gun who wanted to take out the greatest gunfighter in the West, and I had to be extra cautious. So from then on, whenever I wanted to play a game of cards, I wanted to sit at a table that was near the wall, and I wanted a chair right next to the wall where I could see the front door, back door, and everything in between. So I continued out across the Kansas prairie, and I did some odd jobs, did some freighting, scouting, and I noticed one thing out there. All these little towns just suddenly started sprouting up out on the prairie. Well, and a lot of them really had no law to speak of, so kind of gave me the idea maybe I ought to be a lawman. So that's what I did. Oh, I helped clean up a number of towns across Kansas. Wichita, Bay City, a few more. I ended up making my way to Abilene, Kansas. And I took the job as marshal there. Well, the folks there in Abilene, when they heard that mighty Wild Bill Hickok was going to be their marshal, why, they were pretty happy with that. Well, not everybody. There's always this guy, you know. Well, in this case, there was a man by the name of Phil Coe. Now, Phil was a cattleman, and he purchased himself a saloon there in town. And I don't know what the reason was, but Phil just seemed to have a problem with my authority. Now, I was the law, and I laid the law down, and I ensured and I made sure it was enforced. And Phil, he would argue with me about anything. No matter what I said, he'd disagree, he'd argue with me. I laid down the law, I said, do not bring your guns to town. And certainly don't be shooting them off, scaring all the women and the folk living there just trying to live their lives. But you know how these problems are. They're going to come to a head one day, and this one was no different. So, one evening, after a hard day's work, I was just relaxing, sitting, having a drink, when all of a sudden I hear a ruckus outside. I hear some shooting, some hollering, some screaming. Well, I run outside, and who do you think it was? Phil Coe and his cohorts shooting up the town. Well, I yelled across the road to him to knock it off. He listened about as well as Davis Tuck did. He yells at me, I yell back at him, and then what does he do? He goes to point his gun in my direction. I'm quicker. I saw it, bam! I dropped him right there. Well, I'm standing there with my two guns. I'm all alone. All of his friends are there. They've got guns. So I just looked at him and I said, who wants the rest of these? Wouldn't hear a word. And then I heard somebody call my name in back of me. I turned quick, fired. Oh, I shot my own deputy, Mike Williams. Now, some of you are laughing at that. Let's try that again. I shot my friend. Oh, yeah, it's too late for that, but nice try. Well, after that, I really didn't want to be a lawman anymore, and I resigned. Well, I started heading out across the Kansas prairie again and trying to find some solace and trying to make myself feel better. And well, I admit I had a drink or several, and I started having friends of mine drop by and say, "Bill, what are you doing? You're wasting your life away. Get a handle on yourself." Well, I had two specific friends, Texas Jack and Buffalo Bill Cody, come visit me. Now, I know you know who Buffalo Bill Cody is. Well, he told me, "Bill, we're putting together a Wild West show. You want to take the show back